Now, tomorrow is a grand day, the state opening of Parliament. It really is quite an event, and of course, King Charles will be there to deliver the speech on behalf of the government. The first time a king has done that for over 70 years. Joining me to analyse what might or might not be said is Sean Worth, Director of the Westminster Policy Institute and former Downing Street advisor to David Cameron. Sean, welcome. It's a tough time. They're 20 points behind in the polls. It's the first and last King's speech before the next general election. I guess what he needs to try and do is to try and show some clear blue water between him and the Labour Party.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you've got to try and do, you're right, this is the last legislative move, if you like, before the election. You've got to say that this is not a government limping to the finish line, given those polls, without a plan that's going to lose. So you've got to demonstrate there's a plan. The problem is that there isn't enough time to do anything serious, like, planning reform, say, and like do
because it takes
stuff.
Ages to get legislation through.
It's like literally 3 years or something like that. It will take to get a serious reform plan on something like. I always use the example of planning, because planning is holding this country back massively, as you know. But he's got like a few months, so he's got to demonstrate. He's got a big plan, but he's also got to demonstrate that this is a government that has serious messages to push for the election. And I think what they're trying to do is create some divisions with the Labour Party. You'll have seen in the press there's briefings that he might open up more oil and gas licences, which Labour oppose. He might do something on transsexual ideologues, trying to get into our schools and tell our kids that there's 1,000 genders, trying to get rid of that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff winds the Labour Party up, really. They go mad over that stuff. So that creates some divisions, but it doesn't quite tell everyone that there's a big plan. So that's the real sort of tension here.
Oh, no, you're missing the point. There's a huge plan. Nobody born from 2009 or afterwards will ever be able to buy a cigarette. Don't worry about the drug epidemic in the country. I mean, some of this stuff, we saw this at the conference speech. He seems to have a peculiar set of priorities.
Well, I think what I gather, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I gather there's going to be something a bit more visionary around autumn statement, which is on the 22nd, in terms of economic vision. The smoking thing, I don't think anyone's really noticed, to be honest. I know you're a famous smoker.
No, but it seems a very odd... Fiddling with A-levels and bringing in that ban seems an odd set of priorities. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think that stuff looks like, somebody's on their way out trying to create a little bit of a legacy, but nobody cares. So I hope that's not going to really feature. But, I mean, the big thing is, have we got, as the Conservative Party, got a serious economic plan?
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to... the Labour Party are 20-odd points average.
Consistently.
Literally, going towards an election.
Yeah.
Before I worked in politics and, number 10 and all that, and high fluting coming on here and all that stuff, I used to be a branch chairman, organising leaflet deliverers. Yeah. And this election, we just want stuff we can sell on the doorstep. And I think we need some stuff like that out of this King's speech.
So if it doesn't come tomorrow, there'll be an uplifting autumn statement from that bullish optimist Jeremy Hunt.
Well, I think Rishi Sunak will... I think, come out and try and set out a sort of an economic vision for this country for growth.
But all we get is miserabilism from the Chancellor.
We do, but, the economy's... There's a difficult situation, but I think there's serious things. I'm chair of a thing called Conservative Friends of Business, and we're pressuring the party to do a lot more to... re-establish the Conservative Party as a party of business.
So, like reversing the 30% increase in corporation tax this year, revisiting IR35 rules, which drive the self-employed crazy. Sean, they've done none of these things. They've got it all wrong with business.
I know they have, and that's why we've been set up. We literally set up last year. But the big thing that the party needs to do... I think the Labour Party is coming onto that ground, and I don't think they're really serious. They're saying they support business, but the entire party basically backs the trade union movement, and a whole load of the woke left that think that companies should be, forcing you to use your personal pronouns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
The Conservative Party has got to take that territory back, but corporation tax going up as it is a massive issue.
That's a disaster.
And there's a lot of actual Conservative MPs that are pressuring to get that back down.
We'll see what comes tomorrow. We'll see what comes in the autumn statement. But how energetic do you think those people that you used to organise as canvassers and leafleters are?
At the moment, they lack stuff to sell on the doorstep. 'Cause I've now just got back into local stuff and organisation, and there's a gulf between when I used to do it. I was in Wandsworth, which is a flagship Tory borough,
yeah.
and we used to, we smashed Labour every election, local and national.
Lowest council tax.
Yeah, lowest council tax.
All of those
that was our
things.
big thing, and now it's Labour. It's Labour run, which is a huge turnaround. But what we want on the doorstep is stuff we can sell, which is not visionary. That is the stuff like, stop the trans nutters indoctrinating my kids with critical race theory and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So we do want that,
maybe.
But we want big vision as well.
Maybe you'll get some of that tomorrow. Maybe you won't. I don't know. You don't know. We will find out, of course, and analyse all of it tomorrow evening here at 7 o'clock. All I can say is, from my visit to the Conservative Party conference, I think the activists are like a lost tribe. They're out there in the wilderness, desperate for leadership, desperate for a vision they can believe in.